I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was taking all these AP classes. I was with all these other kids who were also in AP classes, and everyone was talking about, what university you're going to, what state school you're going to, and the fact that I and a few other my classmates weren't going to university made it seem like we were less, or it was, we're taking this lower option. It was stigmatized to go to junior college, and that's something that I felt at the time. I felt kind of embarrassed to tell people, like, yeah, I'm not going to a UC right now, or I'm not going to wherever. I'm going to a junior college. But I will say, and I've said it before, that I honestly think that junior college was a great thing for me, and I think it's a great thing for, I can almost extend the argument to anyone who's interested in college or a 4-year program. I really think should start out in a junior college, because I think it gives you a great place to cost effectively figure out where your interests are. And it's okay to mess up. It's okay to mess up in 4-year universities too. It's just a lot more expensive and time consuming. And so in my case, after I finished high school, I went to junior college. I went to Santa Rosa Junior College specifically. And I was actually talking to one of my counselors the other day about what things were like after, because she knew I went to UC Berkeley afterwards. She was all like, UC Berkeley was so much better than your junior college. And I was like, no, it really wasn't. Because what I found in my junior college was that every teacher there is there because they want to teach. They enjoy teaching. And the classes are relatively small, which I personally prefer, because I think you can get to know your colleagues better and your faculty better. But the thing is to note about what it's like in really big, prestigious public institutions like UC Berkeley is that the teachers who are teaching these classes are usually doing it because they're being forced to by the chair of their department. So it's kind of like every year they draw straws, and whoever gets the short straw is the one who's going to be teaching thermo or whatever, and it's like, yeah, they do research in this area, maybe tangentially, and now they're going to teach this course. And I will say that unfortunately, a lot of times what I saw in the big prestigious university that everyone's like, oh my god, that must be such great teaching, is like it was variable. There were some teachers who were great, and then there were some teachers who struggled to really keep the class engaged and to help people understand a lot of the complex topics that we were discussing, and a lot of stuff, especially in university, at least what I can speak to in terms of what UC Berkeley was like for me, was that you learned most of your stuff from the graduate students in the discussion sections. During lecture, the teacher might try to introduce something, and I don't know, I honestly think maybe 20% of the kids would understand it. I definitely was not in that 20% of kids who got it. And so, you would go away and go to discussion section and really, struggle with the homework and the problem sets. And, you would hope that there would be a grad student who could explain this to you, that it would make sense. And, as a little side note, that's part of the reason why I tried to make the YouTube channel in the first place, was just that information wasn't, not public, it wasn't private, because what I saw when I was at Berkeley was that a lot of stuff that people learned would stay inside these little cliques, or these little groups of 3 or 4 kids, and like it wouldn't get shared because it was very competitive and people wanted to get the best GPAs they could, which really irritated me. So I kind of made it a point to just, whatever I learned, I tried to share it, and I tried to not just be someone who just took stuff. I tried to be someone who actually gave stuff and tried to help my colleagues and peers. So that's what I really believe in, is and I love teaching too. But getting pretty derailed here. The point is, like, what do you look at when you're looking at junior college? If I could, brief myself on, what to expect back in 2014 before I started. In my case, I had to commute a lot. So, obviously I've said a lot of pros for junior college. Now comes the cons: parking, commuting, depending on how far away you live, for me, I had to commute like an hour each way to get to my junior college, and then parking, if you showed up late, you wouldn't find it. It was definitely very stressful. Also, I will say registering for classes was something that would be very challenging and scary, because it didn't matter if you could like technically complete a class. There was another challenge of literally just getting into these classes, because the thing with junior college is it's great value. So a class that would cost 10 or 20 times more at a university like organic chemistry is something that you just get a ton of people in junior college enrolling and over enrolling in. So you have to crash the course, and you have to feel like you have to get lucky enough to register for it, and to actually get one of those registration ad codes. And so that was definitely stressful too. Those were kind of the 3 pain points for me in terms of my junior college years. But I will say that in hindsight, it was a small price to pay for the quality of education that I got, because I really loved a lot of the teachers that I had in JC. And I think that they really put their hearts into making sure that we understood this stuff, because they really loved it too. And it really showed. And in terms of the environment, like the people around you when you're in junior college, is that it's very collaborative. There's no curves. People just want to understand this stuff and get through it. And, people are usually really cool. And so I definitely did not feel like it was a ridiculously competitive environment. And I think in terms of from high school to university, it was a really nice middle ground that I strongly advocate for. And obviously I can't speak for every junior college, but I think across the board, you're probably gonna have a pretty similar experience in terms of, what to expect. And, I think the other thing to note about junior college and just college in general is the fact that, yeah, people are gonna change their minds. You're gonna write your personal statement saying that you love biology and you wanna do biology for the rest of your life. And then, a year down the road, you're gonna realize, I actually really like chemistry, or I really liked physics or engineering or whatever. And so those types of, changes that you have in your decisions are a lot cheaper at junior college, because, you can pretty easily take those other classes. And, I think in my junior college, at least when I took it, it was only like, I don't know, 50 or $100 per unit for a class, which is, compared to a university, ridiculously cheap. And so, if you wanted to change major and just start taking other classes that are specific to that field that you want to take, you could do it, and it's not going to break the bank as much as it would in a university. So those are things that I think, in terms of cost, in terms of quality, the JCs really can't be beat. And I never went to a private institution, so I can't really speak to what it's like there. I would assume that the private institutions are, really good on quality, probably not so great on price. But obviously, yeah, you damn well better be able to register for those classes. But yeah, so that is what I wanted to share about junior college. And I've honestly thought about maybe sometimes just my junior college has a culinary program, so you can learn how to be a chef or a cook or a waiter or waitress. They just got a bunch of really cool programs that are you can really do a lot with it and go really far. And so I thought it was super awesome stuff that I have thought about. So anyway, gonna wrap things up with that. Hope everyone else is doing well. Talk to you guys next time.